Finally, we salute this month's difference maker. Mankind has a long fascination with apes. Consider Kong a king-size version of that fascination. For Dr. Dawn Prince-Hughes, her fascination was kindled as a young adult when she watched the way silverback male gorillas played caretaker and peacekeeper, helping to establish a community norm. Prince-Hughes has parlayed her fascination with gorillas into a distinguished career that paid off in helping her to navigate the hurdles she had with human rapport because of her autism, helping her by understanding the gorilla way. Here's a World of Difference correspondent, Brad Kuhn, with her story.
Sometimes it takes someone who sees things differently to reveal things that others can't or won't see. Dr. Dawn Prince-Hughes is an American anthropologist, primatologist, and ethologist, known among other things for her groundbreaking work with silverback gorillas. In 2000, she was appointed an adjunct professor at Western Washington University. She is an executive chair of ApeNet Inc. and served as the executive director of the Institute for Cognitive Archaeological Research and is associated with the Jane Goodall Institute.
I felt like I had a mission almost, but I didn't rule out that that mission would be dying in a horrendous way.
Dr. Prince-Hughes sees noises. She tastes sounds, cross-sensing abilities associated with Asperger's syndrome that overwhelm her at times. At 15, she quit school, ran away from her home in the Midwest, and found herself sleeping on a cardboard box on the streets of Seattle. Alone and afraid, she sought comfort in the connection she had always felt with nature.
So the day I met the gorillas at the zoo, that was such a fantastic moment. It was a big deal for me because I would have to concentrate and see the number on the bus, where I was going, and get off at the right stop and make a transfer, which required paying attention to the numbers on the bus and trying to screen out the people and chaos around me. So I did make it to the zoo, and I had the challenge of paying for a ticket and getting in, and I was completely overwhelmed. And I sort of wandered around seeing different animals, but then I went around the corner and saw the gorillas, and it was a revelation. I knew immediately that these were people that I understood and that they were going to understand me in turn, really for the first time in my life. After about an hour, they started to sort of glance at me. Oh, they'd still be doing things. And later I learned that it's only about 5 seconds the average person stays in front of the gorilla exhibit. And so my staying there and sort of passing the test of the hour threshold got their attention, and then they realized, okay, we'll see if this works out. We'll try to talk. And we just sort of had a very simple, subtle exchange. And I was so hooked because I was so comfortable for the first time. I just went back every single day I could, and I just sat there. And now I realize that really my whole nervous system, neurological system was healing during that time. And as I got well, I started to come out of my shell, and I started to ask the people that worked there that would always go through, I would stop them and ask them questions and grill them about the gorillas, and that's how I got to be known at the zoo, and that's how I got to know the gorillas better and better. I personally feel like I was meant to go there that day, that I was meant to see them, that I was meant to find them. And then everything after that really just sort of fell into place because I started I started working with the gorillas. And I remember on the tail end of that, my boss, he said, Dawn, you should really go back to school. I just didn't think I'd ever go back. But he helped me find a situation where I could do studies at the zoo and take the classes I needed at the college and sort of combine these things toward my in my degree trajectory. I was doing a tool use study, and Kismet has it that at that time, while I was observing for the study, one of the little 5-year-old gorillas, Alafia, saw a little moth up on the wall. So she got this shorter, stouter stick and put it under her arm and bipedally walked around, continued to look. She was definitely looking for something. And she picked up this second, longer, thinner stick. And then she walked upright back to the wall. She put the stout stick on the ground at an angle, climbed up it like a ladder, swatted the moth. It fell into her hand and she ate it. I mean, I was hugging strangers, yelling, "Did you see that?" No one had ever seen that before. Two tools at once like that. This was really vindicating, this tool use thing, because people had always sort of attached tool use and intelligence together, like it was a benchmark. So when my new mentor in college, Ben Abe, great Ugandan guy, when he read my paper on the gorilla tool use, he said, "Well, Dawn, you must present this at the Jane Goodall Institute." And I about died. I just thought I was not worthy. But we wrote it up and we sent it in, and that's the first time I met Jane, and we hit it off, and she ended up writing the foreword for my first book on gorillas, which was just pivotal in my career. As great as the things are that I have seen, if I hadn't had someone give me that hand up, it would have come to naught.
Her advice for anyone with a learning disability?
I know what I'm talking about. And I know that you know what you're here for. You may not know the specific tangibles of it this minute, because when you're working as you should be working in harmony with all the things you can't even see, it's like Joseph Campbell says, when you're on the beam, things just line up for you. And you've always got to keep an eye out for the intersectional, because we are all connected in this. So trust your heart and follow that path. Try to have faith in it. And if you need a pep talk, then call me.
For a World of Difference, I'm Brad Kuhn.